Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. We want to welcome you to the 6th edition of ACM Projects Presentation Night. ACM Projects is a semester-long program dedicated to guide students who are new to software development to create their own app within a team environment. Tonight, we'll be able to see the finished products. Johan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Johan.
And I'm Jessie. We're the co-directors of ACM Projects here at UT Dallas, and we couldn't be here this evening without our amazing team. We want to thank our project managers who have worked hard throughout the semester to help make this experience special for every participant. We have Samuel leading Team EasyGift, Sanjeev guiding Team Pocket Museum, Ashish managing Team Alakazam, Emily as the project manager of Team TravelBuddy, Christina leading Team Billboard, Jack guiding Team Focus, Katie managing Team Safe Routes, Afrida as the project manager of Team SimpleShop, Kendra leading Team Commune, David guiding Team French Press, Adam managing Team Secure, and last but not least, Sahana as the project manager of Team KeeperYi. Next, we would like to introduce and thank our industry mentors who have volunteered their time outside of work to help our teams succeed and learn more about the tech industry. We have Alex from AT&T advising Safe Routes and KeeperYi. We have Ashley, also from AT&T, mentoring Commune. David from Southwest coaching Focus and Secure. We have Enyi from Headstorm advising Alakazam. Evan from Southwest mentoring TravelBuddy and Billboard, and we have Blair also from Southwest coaching Pocket Museum and EasyGift. We have Sean from AT&T advising SimpleShop, and Sid also from AT&T mentoring French Press. And before we get to presentations, we want to introduce and give special thanks to the judges for coming out tonight. We definitely could not make presentation night what it is without them. Professor John Cole is the faculty sponsor for ACM and a senior lecturer at UTD. Brian Bachman is the Director of Technology and AI Products within the Chief Data Office at AT&T. Abhishek Mahajan is an AI data scientist at Anthem. Jessica Westland is a campus recruiter for the software engineering program at JP Morgan Chase. Ravi Karanam is the Executive Director of Global Technology at JP Morgan Chase. Now, the moment you have all been waiting for. We're all excited to see the final products tonight. We'll start off presentations with Team KeeperYi.
Ready? All right, I would like to start off by thanking you guys for being here to listen to us. I'm Zach, and I'm on the back-end team.
I'm Abdul. I'm part of the front-end team.
I'm Tisha. I'm also part of the front-end team.
And I'm Sohail, and I'm part of the back-end team.
And this is KeeperYi, saving the environment one click at a time.
KeeperYi is an app that lets you take a picture of an object and tells you whether it's recyclable or not. It even lets you upload a picture from the gallery. For our backend, we use TensorFlow and image recognition to determine if the object is recyclable or not, specifically using TensorFlow Lite, which is a mobile-compatible model and works faster on mobile apps. Our app also has a feature that lets you track your tree progress. It's basically an incentive for you to recycle more. For every picture that you click that's recyclable, your visual forest grows. In short, it's kind of like a visual representation of your commitment to recycling. This is a social feature that allows people and their friends to get involved.
Now, why is KeeperYi significant? As you can see from the graph, a lot of people don't actually know how to recycle, and often that stems from a gap in knowledge of what's actually recyclable. Most of the time, we won't care to put in the effort to look these things up on the internet and would default to just tossing it in the trash. Our app, KeeperYi, takes the thought out of recycling, making it a more feasible and accessible way to increase recycling in the community, and also creates a fun, interactive way to do so. Overall, it makes the environment a better place. Now we have a video that will demonstrate how this can be useful in real life.
Dude, how are you studying in such a mess?
Oh right, I should throw this in the trash can.
Why don't you recycle it?
Recycle? What do you mean?
Dude, knowing whether something's recyclable or not is really easy now. Look at this really cool app I found, KeeperYi. Basically, you take a picture of an object and it tells you whether it's recyclable or not.
Wow, that's so lit. Let me try.
I know, right? It's like saving the environment with just one click. Cool, right?
Yeah.
Recyclable. So now go and throw it in the recycle bin. Go.
As I mentioned earlier, there's a feature called TreeProgress. This is how that screen will look like. This video will demonstrate how that works. The user chooses a picture from the gallery and uploads it. The app tells you whether it's recyclable or not, and if it is, it increments your score with 5 points and shows the updated tree progress with bigger trees. One really cool thing is that you don't need to have an account with us to use this app, but if you do, we also have an authentication functionality which tracks your tree progress. Another example of how the app looks like is when the object is non-recyclable. It's going to show this message in red along with the suggestion about recycling.
So for our tech stack, for the front end, we chose to use the Flutter Framework. The great thing about Flutter is that it's cross-platform, which means it can run on both Android and iOS with the same code. Though it's fairly new, we found Dart, the language it's coded in, to be easy for beginners as it comes with built-in widgets, which lessen the need for complex code. And lastly, even though Flutter has its own widgets, it compiles on native platform code, allowing incredibly fast and beautiful apps.
And on the backend side of things, we decided to go with Python as our higher level language. Python is the most popular language to use with machine learning in the industry due to its ease of use, flexibility, and the fact that it has tons of documentation. Overall, Python was the best language to use for what we were doing.
Now for the machine learning model, we chose to use TensorFlow. TensorFlow is a low-level framework that can be used to create neural networks, which are essentially self-learning algorithms that can use data to train on and eventually classify images. Because training the model takes a lot of computational power, we use Google Colab to create the model, which lets you use borrowed GPU power to train the model. Training took some time as we had to tweak a lot of the variables to ensure it ran the way we wanted it to, but we were successfully able to bring it to a 92% accuracy rate. We overlaid an already trained model to help it be more efficient at differentiating between the classes. And finally, we converted it to a TF Lite model, which is the mobile equivalent of the model that runs smoother.
We did have a few issues along the way. Here's what they were and how we overcame them. To start off, Clarify was a Cloud Vision API that we first used as our machine learning option. Although Clarify was very easy to use, we eventually exceeded the free tier and had to enter the premium. It was clear that this pricing model wasn't going to work out for us. So that forced us to reevaluate our approach and move on to TensorFlow.
So connecting TensorFlow Lite with Flutter, a TensorFlow Lite runtime had to be initialized, which was intricate because our model was custom and we had to make sure the inputs were received well and the outputs were correct.
And there you have it. KeeperYi is a simply designed, user-friendly application that is both fun and useful, allowing us to help the environment one picture at a time. Thank you for your time, and do you have any questions?
Awesome. By the way, all of the industry judges have been made co-hosts, so you guys can mute yourselves if you have a question.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
A little bit.
Okay. Cool presentation. I did have one quick question. So you guys are using a TF Lite model, but it's running on a phone. So what's an expectation of how long, like if somebody takes a picture of something, how long will it take for them to hear back as to whether or not it was recyclable or not recyclable?
So because of the way we implemented the TF Lite model, we put it locally on the phone. And so that's why it's almost instant. Maybe it'll take a second, but really because we place the model inside of the phone's data itself, you get pretty much an instant result as to know whether your object is recyclable or not.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what happens when you take a picture and the model cannot recognize the object?
So the actual model itself, it's going to make a prediction either way. Like we said, it's a 92% accuracy rate on the training data that we use or the testing data we use. So it'll essentially spit out like a probability distribution of whether it's organic or recyclable, and then it'll make a guess. Either way, it won't ever have, the only error it would have is if it's not accurate.
Did you guys pilot this with any users?
Sorry, what was the question?
Did you guys pilot the app with any users?
We did not. No, this is just the, yeah, we didn't actually, I mean, we tested it out with the actual model being used in Flutter, but we obviously didn't deploy it.
Thank you.
One more question from my end. So when you mentioned this 92% accuracy rate, is this on data that you yourself collected or data sets that you found online or through TensorFlow?
So what we did was we imported an already made data set off of Kaggle into Google Colab. It had around 26,000 images, 22,000 were training, and then around 4,000 were the testing. And so the 92% accuracy rate is on the 2 classes that were there from those 4,000 images.
Gotcha. And so from my experience, there's sometimes a big difference between training on a pre-made data set and how the real world actually works, because people have different phones, people have different lighting conditions. So generally, in your guys' experience, when you were testing out this app, does it seem to work pretty well?
Yeah, Abdul, you can go ahead.
Yeah, we think so. I tried it on bottles, clear bottles. I even tried it on bottles with liquids inside, such as Coke, and it seemed to work fine so far. So far for us, we found a pretty accurate result. But obviously, if we were to deploy this app, we would add additional training and classification to the model to make it even more accurate.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
cool.
when we were training the data, we like augmented the images. So we rotated them, changed the brightness, changed the contrast. So all of those things, obviously they're not going to be 100% accurate, but we tried our best when it came to trying to make it as flexible as possible.
Awesome. Unfortunately, that's all of the questions we have for the 2 minutes dedicated to questions.
Next up, we have SimpleShop.
Hi, we're SimpleShop, a fitting extension. My name is Kritika.
I am Rajmeet.
Hi, I'm Rishi.
I'm Niveta. So what motivated SimpleShop? Let's think of this scenario. One day you wake up and you want to buy this crisp white shirt you've been eyeing from Abercrombie. So you hop onto their website and you look up their sizes. Unfortunately, the S seems a little too big and the M seems too small. Like, you know, you're an S at Forever 21, but you're a medium at Nautica, like, you know, on a good day. So now you're confused and you don't buy the one thing you wanted. However, fear not, because we have SimpleShop, a web extension designed to simplify your shopping experience.
Exactly. We want SimpleShop to be as easy to use as possible. So you just have to shop online like normal. And then when it comes time to pick your size, don't panic. You can activate SimpleShop and get your perfect size, and then you can order with confidence.
Now let's go over the tech stack. The backend of our web extension uses Python Tesseract, Beautiful Soup, and Intro.js. Python Tesseract, or PyTesseract, is an optical character recognition tool, and we used it to convert images of sizing charts into readable text. We also use Beautiful Soup, which is a Python package, and we used it to web scrape and navigate through a website. Finally, we used Intro.js to show users an introduction of how the web extension works. We chose to make a web extension in Chrome because Chrome is used by many people, and we also use Chrome APIs for storage.
Those are a lot of great technologies, Kritika. Let's take a look at how SimpleShop works with them behind the scenes. After the user enters their data, SimpleShop saves that into a Google Sync, a storage service by Google. This allows the user to have instant access to their data for future shopping sprees. SimpleShop then scrapes the company's sizing chart in the background and stores that data into a file. Our proactive algorithm then takes our scraped values and converts them into a map of size ranges. Then, our smart comparison algorithm takes the user data and tries to find a match in the size map. If user entered value fits in a size range, it's a match. The tailored perfect size is then displayed to the user.
That sounds awesome, Rajmeet. Let's see it in action. All right, so I'm on Alakazam trying to get a shirt, and I don't know if I'm an extra small or a small. So I'm going to click on SimpleShop. Now it looks a little confusing, so I'm going to hit the help icon. Wow, a beautiful intro. All right, so we can choose between gender that we're shopping for, click between shirts and pants, and we can edit our measurements too. All right, so I'm looking for a shirt. Let's click on the shirt. Oh, a small. Oh my gosh. Crisis averted. Thanks, SimpleShop. All right, now say I'm trying to buy some pants and I don't really know what size I'm gonna get because I've lost some weight. So I'm gonna edit my measurements, update that with my new waist dimensions, and let's see what pants I can get. Oh man, my size isn't in stock. That's okay, they can email me instead when it's available.
We faced some challenges along the way in developing SimpleShop. One of the challenges we faced was finding a way to navigate from the main page of a website to the sizing chart page. We accomplished this by extracting all the URLs from the home page and searching for keywords such as chart or guide to find the URL of the sizing chart page.
Another challenge that we faced was that many websites have sizing charts where some values were hyphenated, indicating a range of values. This meant that we couldn't directly compare sizing chart values with the ones entered by the user. We overcame this issue by creating size ranges, with each letter having a minimum and maximum value. This allowed an easier match between user and sizing chart data.
Right, and thirdly, unlike simple Wikipedia pages, shopping websites tend to be dynamic. So these sizing tables were also coded dynamically. So this means we couldn't directly pull them from the website like we can with regular text. So to resolve this, we used something called the Selenium WebDriver, which essentially automates the browser, mimicking a user's clicks on the browser. This allows for great dynamic web scraping.
As we said in the previous slide, we overcame the initial challenges that we faced. Now let's move on to what we hope to accomplish in the future. We have three main goals, which is allowing users to size match and find their clothing size in one store based on another if they're not sure about their clothing measurements, expanding our clothing search to include more than just shirts and pants, and finally partnering with other brands to make revenue.
Thank you for your time. And always remember, there is no extension like the fitting extension.
All right, so we can go ahead and open up the floor to any questions.
Okay, just a curious question. One of the things I've noticed with clothing, which is why I don't buy it online, is that the size that they say it is isn't what it really is half the time. So for example, buy a pair of jeans on the waist, they don't fit even though they're exactly the waist size that I wear. They're too tight or too loose, usually too tight. Anything about that or any way to control that or actually measure or get the clothing manufacturers to be accurate about what they're selling? Because that's a big problem.
Yes, I think that's always a risk with online shopping. For now, while we don't have a feature that verifies that, I think maybe in the future, if we actually deploy the product, we can figure out some way to verify it with the manufacturers and the producers before having SimpleShop link up with their website.
Okay. And since we're scraping directly from the sizing chart page of that clothing store, we're able to match your size with the size that that the brand has. So instead of just picking small, medium, or large, you're entering an actual number, and we're able to verify with the store.
Okay, yeah, and that I think this would be really useful where you're trying to map a number to a size like small, medium, large, which is kind of what your example showed. So yeah, very good. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So how can you monetize this? Did you guys talk to any potential merchants?
We didn't talk to merchants during the development of this product, but we hope to maybe have partnerships with websites where we can maybe recommend similar products if the product you wanted is not available. So this way, I think these partnerships will help us monetize it.
And I would like to add something real quick. While we were researching for SimpleShop, we noticed that some websites had some kind of sizing measurements, but usually what happened was either they were way too complicated for the user or they were just inaccurate in how they were comparing. So I think this is where SimpleShop can shine, where we have created a product that essentially just simplifies the way you shop online.
All right, thank you guys. That's all the time we have for questions. Next up, we will have French Press.
All right. Hi, I'm Alex.
I'm Angela.
I'm Fanny.
And I'm Ifrit, and we're French Press. Are you a coffee addict? Do you often find yourself at Starbucks? Want more coffee place options to start your day or have a quick laugh with a friend? Well, you can get all your coffee shop needs with our app, French Press. So let's spill the beans. Why did we choose to create this app? We created it to support our local coffee shop businesses, as well as provide more coffee shop places for students trying to study other than Starbucks. We then visited this list of coffee shop places by researching some of the best coffee shop places in Plano, Richardson, and Dallas. After we visited these list of places, we ranked them on a characteristics that I'll be discussing in the next slide. Our favorite coffee shop place was White Rock Coffee, demonstrated in the image on the right, because when we went there, it had the best vibes, the best rank, and as an added bonus, as you can see in the image, a second floor. Our ranking system includes these characteristics: how the coffee quality is, if they have other meal options, how the overall food tastes, what the price range is, if they have Wi-Fi, the availability of outlets or tables for those trying to study, the aesthetic when you walk in, and a quick vibe check. What I mean by that is in the image on the right of Murray Street Coffee located in Dallas, it provides very homey or cabin vibes. So let's imagine a scenario where you need a quiet place to study. By using our map and our coffee cards, which has these characteristics listed on them and personalized, you can quickly find a perfect place for you. So let's actually talk about how the app works.
So for our app, we use Flutter as a framework because of its cross-compatibility potential. Dart is the language that Flutter uses. Android Google Maps API is what we use to display the maps and customize the map theme. Firebase is what we use for the login plugin and the database.
Okay, so when users first open up the application, they will see a few ways they can choose to sign in. On the left two phones, you have what is called a manual sign-in, where basically the user has to register with a first and last name, an email, and a password of their choice. And then when they log into the app on future occasions, they can use that said email and password to sign in. On the right phone, you can see that we have something called a Google sign-in, which is a plugin developed by Google, which basically lets users with pre-existing Gmail accounts to log in with that email and that password and just follow the steps for the ease of the user. Both of these logins will keep the user logged in as long as they do not click the sign out button on the app. And both of these logins are also authenticated through Firebase, so you know that each login is secure every time a user decides to log in.
So once you're signed into the app, you can explore the map. You can look at the cards at the bottom of the screen and you can browse through the different coffee shops we went to. If you click the arrow on the card, it'll take you to the coffee card, where you can see all the different attributes on how we rated the shop. And if you swipe over from that, you'll see the location, and you can favorite the coffee shop if you'd like it.
So aside from the map, notice on the top left-hand corner, there's the sidebar. Whenever you bring a problem to the sidebar, there's an About Us page where you can contact us, the developer, about any suggestions that you might have. Next, we have a Favorites tab, which if you click on this, it brings up a page with a list of the user that you selected, or the coffee shop that you selected as your favorite. And also, we coordinated the app, the dark mode and the light mode, to the time of the day. So, for example, it's 6 p.m. right now. So the app automatically goes to dark mode. And if you want to turn this off, you can use the sidebar and turn off the switch to the light mode. And then finally, you have the logout button, which of course brings you back to the login page.
Okay, so when we were first developing our app, we had a few roadblocks to overcome. And I think the largest one for us was setting up our environment, which was connecting Firebase, Flutter, Dart, all to our IDE, which we used Android Studios for this app. And for us, we also had a few issues because we had a few Mac users, and setting up Android Studios was also very complicated on a Mac, but with like a lot of research and coordination between one another, we were able to overcome and obviously set up the correct environment. And then we knew we had to connect to Firebase as soon as possible because we both use it for holding all of our ranking systems in our database. And we also use it to authenticate each login. So we knew we had to connect as soon as possible. So also with lots of tutorials and also the workshop that ACM provided, we were able to connect to Firebase with our application successfully. And finally, we're all pretty new to the idea of app development. So we had to figure out what key terms like stateless and stateful widgets, what a widget was at that point. And eventually with like a lot of research and like coordination between one another and putting the time in, we were able to come up with a really nice product that we all understand.
So for our future development, we plan on implementing more user interactions. So for example, the user might have some favorites or a favorite taste flavor that they might like, and they can put that on their user profile. Also more details on like the type of establishment or maybe the type of unique coffee each coffee shop sells. This will require talking to a lot of shop owners for more details and contacting them like in person or via email. And also we plan to allow more user input so they can add their own review to the coffee shop. And this also ties back to adding more user interactivity. So any questions?
So the app is mainly for coffee shops, right? How easy or difficult is it to like change the app to measure the quality of some other things? Like, I mean, I don't know, clothing shops or, I mean, other things.
It would be very simple for us because the way we did it, I'm sure we could change this in the future by using an API by Google Maps, but we basically went to each coffee shop manually, and the rankings that we have in the database as of right now are our own personal rankings. So all you basically would have to do would be to add the location of the shop or whatever item you're trying to reference into the database, and you can make a new collection for that. And then you would be able to probably customize and put a filter to find whatever like shop or restaurant you're trying to find.
So how is it different from an app like Yelp?
Yelp, well, Yelp is more based off of, they don't have the aspect where they're trying to get based off the local coffee shops only, because this is what we're trying to popularize local coffee shops compared to Coffee Bean or Starbucks or something. And that is much more, our app is much more specific for these local coffee shops, especially in our future development, which unfortunately with the circumstances, we didn't have enough time to get like each personal story, but we're trying to promote these coffee shops. So the best way to do that is to get their own story, which Yelp does not do.
Sorry, go ahead.
Also, we plan on like contacting the owners more and trying to get the brewing techniques, which we said would take a lot of time, but that would be a future development that we would add in the future. So it would personalize our app even more so that the user, if they like a certain coffee place, they can make it their own at home.
And also to add on to what other people said, Yelp in general is it's a very general app. So what we want our app to be is to be geared towards coffee. So there's a lot of nuances to coffee, like taste profile, the brewing process. And so we want to take all the information into this app, something that, Yelp doesn't do, because Yelp is geared for like the general audience, for the public. But French Press is geared for, I say, students, professionals, people who want to be productive, and people who love coffee and they really want to learn more about the process and learn more about, the nuances of coffee. And that's something that Yelp as a general app can't really provide.
Okay, thank you, French Press. That's all the time we have for questions. Next up, we have Commune.
Hello, guys. My name is Olam John.
I'm Trevor. Hello.
Hello. I'm Swaraj, and our last group member is Neha. We're going to talk to you about Commune, an app that we spent the course this semester developing. Everyone has that nightmare of entering into a new shared household with random roommates, the discombobulated, defunct, and cluttered dorm room that has everyone asking, what went wrong here? For a roommate group to succeed, it requires two things: organization and communication. Roommates need to decide what needs to get done and how to get it done. Apps like Roomie and Roomster are really good at connecting roommates, but what we found lacking was a way to micromanage the minute aspects of the household. Enter Commune. Commune, as an app, focuses on bills and chores, two of the most ubiquitous elements of any shared household.
One of the main features of our app is the household function. Households are a way that we group members together within a certain household. The creator of the household sets a password that only the people that they want to join the household can join. The admin automatically has certain organizational features that they gain by being the household admin. They can see when the current bill is due, when the next chore is due, and who the current admin is. Because once the admin leaves the household, they can select who they want to be as the next admin of the household.
In Commune, every user has a list of chores that they must complete, but only the admin can.
Your sound went away.
Right, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, it seems like there's some small technical difficulties on her end.
Okay.
Can somebody else pick up and continue?
Yeah, I'll do it. So with Commune, we make it really easy to add chores and manage them from your home screen. Whenever you open the app, the first screen that you see has two widgets. One of them has a to-do widget. And here it'll show you the description of the chores as well as the deadline. Once you're done with the chore, you can simply swipe and the points will be added to your total point in your user profile. What sets Commune apart from this competition is the budget feature. Unlike Roomie and Roomster, Commune allows each user to manage their money from within the app. All you have to do to access this is simply click the plus button in the bills widget. This will pop up a window prompting you to enter the description and an amount that you'd like to change. Once you enter those values, you can click plus to add to your current budget or minus to take away. You can also keep track of all your expenses by simply clicking the dollar amount shown in the bills widget. This will pop up an itemized list of all the bills and budget changes that have been added in the past month. You can also do the same thing for the household budget, as each household has its own budget separate from that of the users.
A way to keep people engaged while also having a bit of fun is we introduced a leaderboard system. The leaderboard updates the points values of each user in real time. The points are gained by completing the previously mentioned chores. The admin can see this and reward those who are being most productive during a given time.
We at Commune wanted to make sure our app is as clutter-free as possible. Commune in itself is an organizational app, so we wanted the user to feel the sense of order and clarity every time they interact with it. That's why you don't have to hunt around the app to see what you need. All it takes is a glance at the home screen, and right off the bat, you know what chores you have to complete by the end of the week, and also the total bills you have to pay by the end of the month. Of course, switching between the other screens of the app is really easy with the fixed navigation bar at the bottom of the screen.
When we were developing Commune, we were debating between a couple of frameworks like Android Studio and React Native, but we eventually settled on Flutter because it's relatively intuitive. It uses Dart, which has a lot of similarities to Java, and a lot of us have prior experience with that. And for backend operations like user authentication and user groups, we paired Flutter with Firebase. There were a couple of obstacles that we felt like we had to address in this presentation. One of them is optimization. Midway through while we were learning Flutter and Firebase, we realized that we were writing to and from the database a little bit too much. So we revamped all our processes and made them write to and from the database a little bit less, making that more efficient for us as developers and for the users. We also wanted Commune to be cross-platform. And while we were writing, we initially did not take this into account as we were writing for Android. So to make Commune more accessible to its potential market base, we decided to revamp our processes, reinvent how we used Firebase and make it cross-platform, able to reach both Android and iOS users.
In the future, we're looking to implement 3 main features. The first of which would be Commune and using third-party messaging tools to talk about anything that has to do with their own household. This would also be a good opportunity to make some profit, as we can create emojis and stickers that users can buy and use from within the tool. The other 2 features would only be available for those who purchase the premium version. The first of these features would be the rating feature. This would allow each user to rate and leave reviews about their roommates based on how clean, timely, and respectful they are. The other feature would allow users to search and find future roommates using those ratings and reviews that others have made for them. We do understand that this could cause some privacy concerns, so we would allow users to opt out of being shown in the search results. To conclude, we feel like Commune has really filled in a gap in the market, and there's truly no limit to its potential. So judges, who's ready to join our household and help cultivate the next generation of communities? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Brian Bachman. I'm really curious if in your back end from the database perspective, you thought about or looked at sort of the weightings of different roles and responsibilities and interest level by household participants. So rather than just a straight taking out the trash is worth 10 points, it might be worth more to me and less to somebody else, the ability to swap chores and roles and responsibilities, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that could be a future feature that we could add, but when we first started giving the 2-month time frame, we decided to just kind of build the fundamentals. That way we can build on top of it. And so that could be something that we considered. We also considered adding, for example, when you're managing the budget, as of right now, you cannot actually make the transactions. But because we have built the budget feature, we can still add services such as Google Pay, Apple Pay, or Venmo that could facilitate transactions and make those possible too.
All right, thank you, Commune. That's all the time we have for questions. Can we have Safe Routes up next?
All right, everybody ready?
Yes.
Disha?
I'm Disha Kumbham. Oh yeah.
Hi, my name is Ishani Chowdhury.
I'm Disha Kumbham.
And I'm Leo Bala. And this is Safe Routes. Erase doubts with Safe Routes. Here in DFW, we are 4th in the nation in traffic fatalities. Our roads are dangerous. We want to address this issue by creating an app that would help people make safer choices while driving. By gathering data about the dangers of each road along a route, we generate a safety rating that makes it easy for you to compare the relative safety of routes so you can make the best decision.
So to use our app, first you would create a custom route. You choose your origin and your destination. And so here we chose UTD to UNT.
Next, you'll see a recommended list of routes pop up with the safety ratings. You can see how long it takes for you to get there, as well as how many fatalities were involved along the way. As you can see, you can choose to avoid highways and it will boost the safety rating. Here is a broader map of the DFW area as well as your route. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, there is step-by-step instruction on how to get to your destination using road names.
So let's talk about how we calculate our safety rating. The first factor we incorporate is historical collision data from the National Traffic Fatality Database. So we take every car that has been involved in a car accident and all fatalities, and those both weigh into our final safety rating.
We also include live traffic events from our MapQuest traffic API, and the events include construction, traffic congestion, collisions, and road closures. And the API gives us the severity levels, and we factored that into our safety rating.
Lastly, we incorporated live weather conditions from the Open Weather Map API. If the weather badly affects driving conditions, such as rain or snow, it will lower the safety rating. If the weather is ideal, it will only boost the safety rating.
So let's get into a live demo so y'all can see how it works. I will share our emulator. Okay, so you'll begin by clicking the Create Route button. Now you can search for your origin and your destination. So let's go from the DFW airport to the Arboretum, Dallas Arboretum. And as you can see, the app fills in the locations as you type them in. Now I'm gonna get 3 different routes here. They're okay, C minus, C, B plus, 128 vehicles crashed here, 83 fatalities. Now I can try avoiding highways and see what I get. Now I have 2 A's here. So let's look at this one. This looks pretty good. 4 vehicles, 3 fatalities. So I'm gonna select this route. Now you can see step by step each piece of the route. So you can study it like that, or you can zoom out and get a broader view of the route. When you're done, X out and you can make your next route. Okay, this is our tech stack. We used React Native to develop the app because it already has a large user base and a lot of documentation, which made it easy for us to get safe routes up and running quick. We get our routes from the Google Maps API. They give us the fastest, most efficient routes. We put our safety ratings on them so you can compare them.
And for our live traffic events, we use the MapQuest traffic API because it had a more variety of different events compared to the other APIs we looked at.
We also use the NHTSA Crash Data API because it is a reliable government database. And for the weather, we use the Open Weather Map API because it is a widely used weather software and is incredibly reliable. Just like with all projects, we experienced some hurdles along the way. Our first non-technical challenge was a team member leaving the project at the end of February. Her work ethic and dedication inspired us to take more initiative and brought us closer together as a team.
We also had difficulties working with our Here traffic API, and we weren't able to parse it. So we switched over to the MapQuest traffic API, and we were able to parse it and use the information.
Our biggest technical challenge was limited documentation on the Crash Data API. There was a lack of data as well as standardization. There were missing road names and missing car crash fatalities. I was initially unsuccessful in parsing the Crash Data API. However, I enlisted help from my teammate Leo, and it was through our collaboration that we were able to successfully parse the API together.
So in the future, we'd like to have live navigation so it's easier to use while driving.
We would also like you to share routes with others so that others can benefit from this app.
We also want to expand outside of DFW because currently our API limits us, and there's a lot of information outside DFW, and we had a lack of time. And we also want to be able to save your favorite routes so that's more convenient for the user.
Erase doubts with safe routes. Now we would like to open up the floor to any questions you have.
I did have one quick question. I really like this idea, but I also really like all the other features that Google Maps has to offer, such as having multiple routes at the same, having multiple destinations, wanting to have a gas station on the way and stuff like that. would it be possible to integrate something like this directly into Google Maps, or would it have to be a completely separate app?
Well, we have some limitations with the Google Maps API. They don't allow us to actually do live navigation. So that would have to be something we get from a different API if you wanted to look for a gas station close by. But what we do is something that Google Maps does not do. Google Maps doesn't get 3 different layers of data and analyze the safety with all of those. They might show you live collisions, sure, but they don't give you historical crash data. We give you the safety ratings. That's what makes us original.
So guys, the crash data that you use, right, looks like it's historical, right? It's not live, correct?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
So the crash data that you're using to calculate the different ratings, it's all historical, right? It's not the live data right now.
No. So it's all, yeah, it's all data within the past year or so.
No, but what's happening? Let's say I want to go from point A to point B now. If there are 3 routes, along with using the last 1 year, if there's a crash happening in basically in one of the routes, do you take that into account as well?
Yes, it's based on historical car crashes. So yes, it's based on past reports, not live reports.
Thank you.
All right, that's all the time we have for questions. Thank you, Safe Routes. Next up, we have TravelBuddy.
Sorry, I was muted. Should I start now or should I wait?
Go ahead, get started if possible. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. We're the TravelBuddy team, and our app for Android and iOS is for that busy family traveler or study abroad student trying to keep track of all their necessities stress-free.
Hi, I'm Sam. I served as the backend developer for this project.
I'm Nicole. I was a full stack developer. Hi, I'm Shreya, and I was a front-end developer.
And I'm Kiara, and I was also a backend developer.
We just to develop the store the data in Firebase. Using Flutter, both made by Google, ensured that the integration of our app was smooth and easy. Furthermore, since Flutter is a cross-platform framework, users can use iOS or Android to run our app with ease. Flutter also has a really nice UI, so we can ensure that our users are getting the best experience using our app.
As the front-end team, we designed the UI of various screens. Here you can see a few of them, including a login page, an itinerary page, and create new event page. And after the user logs in, they're directed to an itinerary page, which displays all the events for a specific day. The user can choose to add new events with specific details to be shown in the daily calendar view.
Okay, so as part of the login page, backend worked on using Firebase Authentication, which lets users access their account information from any device that they log into the app from.
We also used Firebase to store and modify the user data. For examples, users can get their own customized packing list, which can be saved, updated, and called back in their devices in a real-time basis.
So what makes us different? So we make it easy. We've combined various apps into one to create a hassle-free travel experience. We as a company only want to give you content that you want to see. And while there are other apps like ours on the market, we simply offer what others can't. We have an event calendar, a packing list, and a personalized experience.
Here's a short demo of our app in action. First, the user is required to log in with their email and password. This process includes user authentication. Then the user is shown a screen with events that they have for the day. By hovering over to the side menu, a user can add a new event with specific information. This includes the name, date, the time, and even a short description if they would like to. So here we have a full calendar view, so you can see all of the appointments that you have for each day. And then we also integrated a currency converter. So here we're converting from dollars to pounds, and you can select the drop-down menu and select the currency you want to convert to. And then we also have several packing lists here. So as you pack, you can just check off what you put in your suitcase and you're good to go.
So we did face some roadblocks along our journey of developing TravelBuddy. At the beginning of the project, we realized that our code and pages like event page and the currency converter page ran in unique ways for the developers. So we decided using a singular emulator so that the project would run the same for every developer. That made it really efficient and simpler to develop the project. And furthermore, in terms of user devices, we noticed that the features and graphics of the app appeared differently based on the restriction of screen sizes of the devices. That meant for smaller screens, the pages would be distorted. So in order to fix that, we decided to implement the scrollability feature, which would allow our app to work smoothly in all the devices and platforms.
So in addition to our current features, in the future, we hope to integrate an explore page. So we'd have an opening survey, and then with the information that we gather from that survey, we would populate places on the explore page that we think you'd enjoy, either around you or to a place that you might be traveling to in the near future. And then we would also, for ad revenue, allow airlines and hotels to advertise on our app. And then if users don't want to see those ads anymore, they can have a one-time small fee to have an ad-free experience. And then in addition to the explore page, we would also use information we gather from the opening survey to allow users to connect with each other if they have similar answers.
So a lot of people here have had a bad travel experience at some point or the other. Either you missed your flight, you left your sunscreen at home, or you slept through something you were really looking forward to. Whatever it is, TravelBuddy is designed to prevent that from happening and help you truly enjoy your experience. We as a TravelBuddy team want to thank you for hearing our presentation today, and we want to open the floor to any questions you may have.
So I have a question. I have an app, right, that I use called TripIt, kind of similar, right? Keeps all of my things in order for me for like work trips. But one thing that is super convenient on this app that I have, and wondering if you guys might be able to integrate this, but anytime I have a confirmation email that has my same email address, I can just forward it over and it logs all of that information so that you don't have to log each event individually. Do you think you guys might be able to incorporate something along those lines?
Yeah, so in the future, we plan to integrate a few more apps into our app itself. So we were thinking of doing something similar to what you were saying, but also adding like ride sharing apps and other things that would make traveling more convenient for our users.
And in addition to that, we have your packing list already saved in the device. So if you want the same packing list or really convenient for the users.
Perfect, thanks.
Okay, thank you guys. That's all the time we have for questions. Next, can we have Alakazam come up?
Hi, we're Alakazam. My name is Shreya, and I'm on the back end along with Elvina and Raghav. And on the front end, we have Jacob. Imagine you're sitting in the dentist's office watching a hilarious scene from a movie that you don't know. Well, now you can Alakazam it. Although Shazam offers a solution to extract the song title from audio, there isn't one for movies. Our app is the solution to this problem. Now, Elvina will give you an overview of what Alakazam is.
The app requires the user to record 10 to 20 seconds of a movie clip. The speech-to-text API enables the application to convert the audio into a text file by applying neural network models. Azure Cognitive Search is an application used to search through multiple script files for a movie title. Once the movie title is parsed from the movie script, the title is displayed for the user to see. Now Shreya will talk more about Azure Cognitive Search.
Microsoft's Azure Cognitive Search is a cloud-based search service that we use in our app. It's essentially a Google search bar. Azure Search can search through unstructured data, images or text files, as well as structured data, data that is stored as tables or columns. Our data, which movie scripts, was stored as text files. An indexer is then created to load those documents into a search index. This is where the search queries are made. A query is basically what the user inputs into the search bar. For instance, dialogue, movie directors, actors' names, whatever they want. Then the search index will use that query and find the movie that's most matched from the data and return those results. We also use cognitive skills such as language detection, finding people's names, places, dates, and times to customize their search results. Now, Raga will go over the backend development challenges.
The first of our two main hurdles was the implementation of Azure Cognitive Search. Since it was released just a few months ago, there was limited documentation, and as a result, we ran into many seemingly small problems which took several days to iron out. The bulk of our issues revolved around creating the index and defining its properties. Eventually, we were able to troubleshoot the issues and effectively create and index a variety of movie scripts. The second issue arose when it came to connect Azure Cognitive Search to the Flutter app. Initially, we were not able to figure out how to hit the Azure endpoint from Flutter, so we thought that we had to create our own custom API. But after further research, we were able to successfully access the endpoint through Flutter and REST without a custom API. Now I'll hand it over to Jacob to talk more about the front end.
Here's our demo for the app. Unfortunately, we had initially wanted to do a live demo, but we ran out of Microsoft Azure money. However, due to the nature of our app and wanting the audience to be able to both listen to the audio of the movie while watching the app on screen, we had decided earlier to film some examples and put it into a video.
When we're asleep, our mind can do almost anything. Such as? Well, imagine you're designing a building, right? You consciously create each aspect. But sometimes it feels like it's almost creating itself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like I'm discovering it.
Genuine inspiration, right? Now in a dream, our mind...
She loved it. And she loved it so much that she wants you to come in tomorrow and audition for this huge movie that she's got.
I'm not going to that. I'm not going to that. That one's going to be...
As you can see, the app uses a speech-to-text API to get what the characters are saying, and then sends that string to the backend Azure API. That, in return, returns the movie and a lot of information about the movie. The front end then finds the movie title and director name and displays it to the user. A couple struggles related to the front end stumped me for a bit. Initially, our team wanted to have, for simplicity, only one button that did all the work. However, I had to split the functions into two buttons, one to record the audio and one to do the API call. Another struggle was getting the design to be simplistic enough, yet also aesthetic. So I used Adobe XD to design the app's UI, then coded it into Flutter, Google's cross-platform iOS and Android native app development toolkit. We have two color schemes, so users can choose between light and dark mode depending on personal preference. In the future, we would add additional features such as a history page to store the user's individual movie lookup history and a settings page. Speaking of future features, Elvina will now talk about a couple additional backend features we would like to implement.
We have 3 future features that we would possibly like to implement. The first is the display of featured songs. The Google Search Movie API can be used to display a list of songs from a movie using a movie title. The second is the app being able to look up foreign movies. Microsoft Cognitive Search has a built-in language feature that allows us to do this. The third feature is to display a link to IMDb once the movie title is displayed. Well, are you ready to Alakazam? I would now like to open the floor for any questions.
So I had a question. When for if you're trying to see whether a movie is for like the Inception movie, when you're recording the movie, does the app alert you when it's found the movie, or do you just wait until you think you've gathered enough information?
So essentially, the app records and attempts to process input until there's like a lull or the pause in the conversation, and then it uses all the data that it's gotten from the movie.
Gotcha. So what's a lull defined as? Like the app it just isn't hearing anything, or it's not hearing any speech?
It's like a pause in the conversation. So the app usually like records about like 10 to 20 seconds of audio.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you guys. If there are no more questions, we can have Pocket Museum up next.
Hey guys, do you know what PM stands for?
Private messaging. Project manager.
No, it stands for Pocket Museum, where you can snap, click, and learn. Welcome, I'm Saksham, your curator, and these are your tour guides, Soham and Vishwa.
Hey everyone, I'm your tour guide Viswa, and here we're going to take you for a brief overview of our app in our first exhibit. Here we have Napoleon Crossing the Alps by Jacques-Louis David, a very well-renowned painting. And the first step to using our app is just snapping a photo of the artwork. So here we have the phone, we just take a quick photo of the artwork, step 1 is over. Step 2 is sending that artwork to our real-time database with a simple click of the button that is our logo. After you send it to our database, our backend handles finding out what the painting is, who painted it, all the info you could ever want about the painting, and it gathers all of it. The third and final step is displaying that info back to the user in the most efficient and optimal way possible in order to maximize the user experience and make sure they can learn about the art that they love. Over to you, Saham.
All right, thank you, tour guide Viswa. Our museum has many beautiful features to make it easy for users like you to use our app. First thing is that we can upload images directly from the gallery. If our user doesn't want to open the app to take a picture, that's perfectly okay. Our app has an option where you can upload directly from the gallery instead. Second is our state-of-the-art image recognition. With the help of our APIs, especially Google Cloud Vision, we're able to deliver beautiful image recognition that can deliver results to our user accurately. This works in real time so that you can get the image as quick as possible. And last but not least, our real-time databases work around the clock to make sure that you, the user, get your results in a timely manner as well. And of course, best stuff, we got dark mode. But don't let me tell you about all these features. Why don't you see them for yourself? Viswa, take it away.
Sure thing. So here we have our video of a demo.
I don't think we can hear the audio.
Are you guys not able to hear it? Okay, I'll just walk you guys through it. So here we've opened up the camera app, and all you have to do is it opens straight to the camera app. We snap a picture of whatever art we have. So this picture looks good to me. Let's go ahead and press OK. Our interface loads in, and right there in the center of the screen, we have our Pocket Museum logo button. So if we want to find out more about this painting and what it is, we can go ahead and just click that button in the center of the screen. Patience is a virtue, everyone. It only takes around 3 seconds to find out what the painting is. And here it's identified as Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night, painted in 1889 as an oil on canvas. There's a brief summary about the painting. If you want to learn more information about it, basically anything you want to know, it's on this page. After the user scans this page and learns what they want to know from the painting. Our app also has several other features. Here we have an image from gallery option. So if you already have a painting saved on your phone, you can access it by just using that. You can take another image if there's more paintings in the museum, obviously. And lastly, you can use the button at the top to maybe share the image with friends. Here over in our settings, we have the infamous dark mode that we mentioned earlier to make the app a bit easier on the eyes. And if you don't like the fonts, there are several different fonts you could choose from. I like the current one, so let's stick with that. And that's Pocket Museum, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you, Saksham.
Let's talk about our tech stack. In the front end, we use Flutter, a cross-platform application, so we can use a single code base for both iOS and Android platforms. We did not use frameworks like React Native because Flutter allows for a highly customized user experience and it has higher native performance. In the backend, we use Python, scalable Firebase services, and a lot of APIs to accurately present the information to the user. Next, onto our competitors.
So the main competitor of Pocket Museum is an app called Smartify, but there are a couple of problems with this app. First is there's a limited database, meaning it will not be able to identify a lot of the paintings that you attempt to scan. Secondly, it has very poor functionality, meaning that the UI is just very clunky and the app itself is very difficult to navigate. Lastly, it has a small scanning frame, meaning you have to fit the art within a very tiny frame and very specifically in order for it to get to work. An example of this in a review said the app was never going to identify the painting, even if I had waited an hour. Imagine. And those are just some more poor reviews of this app's functionality. Over to you, Soham.
Thank you, Viswa. When trying to create the best virtual museum in the world, we obviously had a few roadblocks on the way. Today, we'll talk about two big ones. The first problem was for the front end, and that was specifically with chronological storage. Images, when uploaded to our storage, wouldn't show up chronologically, like in time order. So we used Dart's datetime function instead, provide ordered unique image IDs for each artwork that was uploaded. For our backend, our main issue was with complex interactions. Specifically, we debated how to return information in the real-time database, especially with artworks from all around the world. So we streamlined the process, and we used Flask, Cloud Vision, and Wikipedia API in conjunction to generate and return the important info back to the user. So then the question stands, what's next for our Pocket Museum? Well, two things that we look forward to is multi-language support for polyglots who want to learn more, and add artworks to favorites as well, in case you really like a certain artwork for future reference. Well, that's the end of our tour of Pocket Museum. Thank you so much for attending. I'm Tour Guide Soham, this is Tour Guide Biswa, and our curator Saksham. Before we head off to the gift shop, does anybody have any questions?
So did you just say that right now this works only for art, but you are expanding to other objects as well in future?
So currently the app is based around Pocket Museum, so it's mainly based around art, but it does have the ability to also scan like statues or different models and stuff you could see in museums. It could be expanded in the future, and we may actually do that to expand to like other pieces, but for now it's just like art, statues, stuff art related.
And right now we're using a feature in Google Cloud Vision called the entity detection, so which detects any objects using Google image search. So it allows us to detect a lot of a wide variety of images.
Okay.
What if it doesn't recognize an image? For example, I have a painting in my office over here that one of my friends painted. It's beautiful, but it's not going to be in any art database.
So if the app is not able to recognize the painting and is not able to pull any information, it will actually just show you a page telling you that it won't, it will give you a little notification saying like it hasn't found any matching images, and then it'll pull you just a random page that we haven't stored. So something like the Mona Lisa. So even if you weren't able to scan the painting that you may have in your house or something, you can still learn about more art.
Okay. Won't let me catalog it.
Unfortunately.
Right now we're using a Wikipedia API, so it has a lot of wide range of artworks. So we also, maybe in the future, we can add a feature of adding a personalized painting in the catalog as well.
So how many paintings have you indexed?
So we've checked with a large database of paintings, and we've cross-applied it with like various museums as well. So like some of the bigger museums are like the Chicago Art Institute. And for the vast majority of larger museums, even well as like smaller museums, like local ones like the DMA, it'll work. For stuff like paintings in your house or like self-drawn paintings, as we explained earlier, it may not be able to recognize those.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Next up, we have EasyGift.
Everyone hear me?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so do I just go ahead and begin? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Imagine that your friend's birthday is tomorrow and you need to buy him or her a gift. You check your calendar and you realize in horror that your friend's birthday was actually yesterday. Let's all face it, this is an awkward scenario that we've all probably experienced at some point in our lives. And so we were inspired by these problems, which led us to develop EasyGift, a beautiful, intuitive app that allows a user to connect, find, and select the perfect gift for your friends and family. My name is John Nguyen, and I developed the front end with Kriti, and Ali and Sean were on the back end, and our project manager was Sam.
Our focus for this app was to keep it simple, intuitive, and accessible. While designing our app, we put our focus primarily on the user to allow them to have a seamless experience of receiving a gift. We put extra priority on the design, which included the color scheme, the shapes, and the stock footage. We put an emphasis on every single step to allow the users to have the ability to experience our app without any complications. And we wanted our app to be accessible to all users.
So now I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of the main areas of our app, primarily what the user would see and when they first download the app and how they would set up. A quick note is that the GIFs in the upcoming slides were slightly sped up for the presentation, but in reality, the process will be slower, giving ample time for the user to properly set up. So when a user first downloads the app, they will see this page. They can log in if they already have an account, or like any new user, they would have to first create an account. This requires their name, their email, and a password. The sign-up process is all managed by Firebase Authentication, so the account information is already stored and a new user profile will be created in our own database. Now, the page that you see right here are a guide to help the user with the setup process, prompting the user and providing info about our app. The user will first be prompted to select an event from a birthday, Secret Santa, wedding, graduation, or some other event. Once they select an event, they will be then prompted to create their first wish list. So this shows how an empty wish list will look. But the user can then start adding items. And when they add an item, they will first name the item, enter a priority, a link of the item, along with any other information such as price or description. And finally, after they add the price and description and any other kind of information, they'll be able to select an image from the gallery from their own phone. So the emulator had this default image that was just shown, but in reality, they would be from their own gallery. So coming back to the priority, the wish list shows the items in order of the user's priority. Priority 1 will be shown first, and then the item with priority 2 will be shown later. So the Galaxy with the priority 1, it was shown before the iPhone, which was priority 2. So then the homepage then shows the upcoming event and the user's wish list. Once again, in order of priority, because that's important. And it also shows the user's friends list. And if there's some empty spots, like there are some empty spots, so they can invite their friends to the app and to the event. This would input their friend's email, and that friend would then receive an email to download the app.
So, like we said, on the front end, we wanted to focus on the user, and we wanted to focus on making sure that the experience was as seamless and positive as possible. In order to accomplish this, we use professional industry standard software, such as Adobe Photoshop and Adobe XD. We use Photoshop to adjust the aspect ratios and to edit the background images and then we use Adobe XD to design and implement the same backgrounds. On backend, our focus was on efficiency. So we wanted to make sure that there was no time lag in between different activities and switching between different activities. In order to accomplish this, we used Android Studio as our emulator and Firebase as our database. So with Firebase, we could have very, very quick login as well as quick writes and reads from the query.
John and I on front end problems with getting Adobe XD to integrate fully with Android Studio. For example, we found that after designing all of our activities, we had to create multiple versions of the same image in XML format so that it would be implemented over different phones. What this meant for us was that we had to rename every single image so that they could go inside the drawings.
So while on backend, we didn't have any challenges further along the line. We had them more towards the beginning. And those challenges were usually learning the ropes of Android Studio. So while we did use Java, a language that both Sean and I were familiar with, we had trouble writing code in a way that would make the app function. And so we did a bunch of research, and after doing research, we figured out the ropes of Android Studio, which made the rest of the process a lot smoother.
So all in all, gift giving is a very personal and intimate experience. And we want you to make these experiences possible and you to create these memories with the people that matter most to you. And on a final note, our app, as of yesterday night, has been approved and is listed on Google Play. So whoever wants to download it, the link is provided here. And yeah, does anyone have any questions?
So from what I know about just like gift giving, the primary users of this seems like they would be weddings. But weddings, like, I'm not sure if weddings is that big of a market. So can you see any other events that people would potentially want wish lists for?
Yeah, there are many different events. I think that but we still consider wedding as part of an integral part of gift giving. And so that's why we included that in our app.
But we also included other events such as Secret Santa, birthdays, graduation, and any other kind of event that it's just like a general event that you want to give a gift at.
Yeah, Secret Santa is a good idea. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't have any time to talk about this in our presentation, but we did have a Secret Santa option, and you can see the screenshots of that here, where you can enter in various member names, and then it will use the wish list that we have already made in the app, and then we'll randomly allow users to be given a certain type of gift to buy.
Two questions on the wish list. If I have set up a wish list, will I see when it has been purchased or something's been purchased for me? And then similarly, if I have two friends who have seen my wish list, will the first one know that the second one already bought something for me, and so then they don't buy two of the same thing for me?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think that we've considered that, and just because of the time constraints we had during this app, we weren't able to implement that idea fully into the app. But that would be considered in a future version.
Okay, thank you, Easy Gift. Next up, we have Billboard.
Hello, everyone. My name is Henry. This is my screen you're looking at. I'm one of the front-end developers on Billboard.
Hello, my name is Steven, and I was a back-end developer on Billboard.
And my name is Sudi, and I was also a front-end developer on Billboard. Welcome to our presentation. We're changing the face of advertising using AR.
We also have a fourth member, Vaibhav.
All right, so the old way of advertising just doesn't cut it anymore. If you're an advertiser, a customer is looking at your product, and the next moment they're thinking about something else. So how do you make sure that they remember your product for time to come? And that's using the power of AR. AR offers a physical experience, a sort of a real looking image that elicits an emotional reaction in the customer. And as you can see from these numbers here, customers would much rather prefer an AR compatible store and would return more often.
So the first thing I want you to know about AR and Billboard is that it's versatile. For retail applications, AR can be used to place objects or place products in a customer's immediate home. For travel, advertisements can display vistas that the user might want to go to. And for movies, users can view 3D trailers even if they don't have a 3D device.
As Vaibhav mentioned, the entertainment industry is a wonderful way to show the capabilities of our app. When the user opens up the app, it takes them to what their camera is looking at. And when they point the camera at the image target here, which is a movie poster for a fake horror movie called Touch of the Dead, 3D functionality will literally reach out to them. If you've ever found the traditional movie trailer getting formulaic, here's the answer.
So similarly, AR can also create a more immersive experience to capture the excitement of traveling the world, for example. So in the demo on the right, we see an advertisement for an airline showcasing its many destinations in a format that users will find more engaging than a traditional advertisement.
For retail applications, augmented reality product placement gives the user the ability to see how a product might look like in their home. This can be especially useful for products where they have doubts that it might be too big in their house or on their person, like purse or furniture. We believe that AR placement would make a user more likely to buy a product because it would create a stronger connection with the product than they would get by just browsing for it online. Finally, we believe that it also gives customers a good choice that negates the inconvenience of having to go to a brick and mortar store and also negates the risk of having to order online, sight unseen, and receiving a product that might not meet their expectations.
If a user would like to save any of these 3D features, even though it won't be as interactive, they can take a screenshot using the camera button in the lower middle. This will save it to their native phone gallery, which they can share with others. This will generate further interest in our app as well as the products being advertised.
You can revisit any of the ads at any time by scrolling through the gallery. As you can see here, the posters are lined up. Whenever you click on any one of the posters, you get the corresponding card. The card contains plenty of useful information about your product.
For this particular project, we assembled all the menus and the interfaces in the game engine Unity. Even though it's not usually the first choice for mobile app development, we found that it fit our needs to develop 3D functionality as well as give us access to C# scripting to give us more customizability. In order to track the image targets, which were the posters you saw earlier, we used the Vuforia engine. Vuforia also gives us an online database that we upload our images to and have them analyzed for how detectable they are in motion. And then to create the animation you saw earlier, we used Blender.
So while developing Billboard, some notable challenges we faced were in developing the screenshot feature, which we wanted to capture the entire user screen but omit the app's UI, so a regular screenshot wouldn't suffice. Another challenge central to the app was in creating easily detectable images for Billboard's advertisement posters so that Vuforia could work effectively with them. And then we also faced issues with version control as Git posed certain problems with some of Unity and Billboard's features, particularly its 3D models.
When creating our business plan, we took into account our costs, which apart from labor costs for actually creating the ads, we have monthly database costs. We came up with a couple business plans. First, we could take a commission on each impression or click when companies host their ads with us, or we could take a flat monthly license fee based on what features that a client would want their ads to contain. We believe that Billboard has the potential to revolutionize print advertising. Instead of having to create a new ad campaign and print out new ads every time you want to advertise a new product, you could simply upload new content to image targets, allowing you to update existing ads with new AR experiences. Also, AR could go beyond billboards and print ads and enhance other forms of advertising. AR could really shine when on an image target like a bollard or a pillar. For example, a concept for an airline ad could involve a plane flying around a pillar, complete with animated clouds and logo.
So moving forward with Billboard, some extra features we envision to expand upon it include adding interactive AR games as a form of an advertisement, as well as adding more custom models and targets to make better use of AR's potential. So for example, rather than using flat posters for ad targets, as Vaibhav mentioned, we could use 3D objects like a cylinder. Another option is to add 3D animations for logos, bringing them to life and creating a more memorable image for a company. And finally, also for users to share and edit captured photos of Billboard's advertisements within the app itself.
Special thanks to our project manager, Christina Abraham, and our industry mentor, Evan Backel, who helped us sort out some of those Git issues. Are there any questions about the future of advertising in AR?
Sure, I have a question. So when I think about like when I get emails for advertisements or something from a website, typically I want to unsubscribe because I don't want to see all the advertisements. So what is the pull and how are you going to get your average consumer to want to download this app and look at advertisements? I think when typically people shy away from wanting to look at extra ads.
Right.
See,
so you can go on, Henry.
The thing with normal advertising is that we've all gotten so used to it, so desensitized to it. Every 5 posts on social media is an ad. But the appeal of our app is that the ads are now interactive, they are 3-dimensional, and they have their own entertainment value.
Yeah.
Right, so Billboard is built around sort of the AR experience rather than just the advertisements themselves.
Customers will be looking for something fun, and as we up our sort of AR games and we're adding more fun models, customers that are fun oriented will probably be appealed to this app.
Right. Another important thing also about Billboard is that it also brings a certain amount of practicality that regular advertisements wouldn't have. So like we mentioned and showed in one of our demos, for example, if you want to see something, tangible, say you're shopping for furniture, you want to see how it fits in your living space, that's something that Billboard could bring to you that traditional advertisements wouldn't be capable of.
Perfect, thank you. I love the idea of the games. That sounds cool.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all the time we have for questions. Thank you, guys. Next up, we have Secure.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Swati, Ty, are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Shivani.
I'm Swati.
And I'm Ty. I'm willing to bet that many people here are not very creative when it comes to making unique passwords. Insecure and compromised passwords are related to over 80% of hacking-related breaches, so it's more important than ever to have secure passwords. So that's where we come in. Take a second to secure your secret with Secure. A quick overview of our application is that first, you fill out a survey of security questions for generating unique and personal passwords. Next, of the generated passwords, you can pick and choose your favorites. And finally, you use those passwords to be secure. To get a little more in depth, filling out this survey of security questions allows for generating memorable passwords. And to be extra secure, your responses will be cross-referenced with publicly available information via web scraping. For example, if one of your responses was your mother's maiden name, and that information happens to be publicly available, then it will not be used in the password generation. Passwords will be created through randomized modification and padding. Users then rank passwords from 1 to 5, adding them to a personalized list where it makes it easy to re-rank and delete in the future. For the tech stack, we decided to use Flutter, Dart, and Firebase. Flutter and Dart were widget-based, so the initial setup and page navigation for functional components was quick. And because both Flutter and Firebase are made by Google, data streams between the two are fast and good for live updates. And then for the demo, we go to Swati.
Now I'll give a quick demo of all of our features. When the user opens the app, the sign-in page prompts them to enter their email address and password, which is then verified through Firebase and then takes the user to the home page. From here, the user is prompted to take a survey in which they have to answer 20 survey questions that are similar to security questions. Potential passwords are generated based on the user's answers to these questions. As they complete the survey, they can see their progress being tracked at the top with the progress bar. After the user finishes answering the survey questions, a list of 5 potential passwords is generated, and the user can rank the passwords by giving it anywhere between a 5-star and a 1-star. Once you give a ranking for a password, you can go back and change your ranking as well. The refresh button is used in order to generate a new set of 5 passwords. After the user has ranked the generated passwords, the ranked passwords will organize themselves under the tab named Favorites in order from highest rank being at the top to lowest rank being all the way down. Now, let's say you don't want to have a certain password under your favorites. You can go ahead and swipe to delete. And then we have a profile page that displays the first and last name, email, and the number of favorited passwords. Under settings, there's an option to sign out. So this slide gives an overview of the main features in our app. The user has to sign in, take a survey, rank the generated passwords, which are then stored under favorites, and all of the user's information is stored in the profile page. With that being said, now Shivani will talk about what makes our app unique.
So why would you want to use our app over others? Well, first off, our app generates passwords that are more personal to the user, which then makes them easier to remember. And considering other generators like the automated Google password generator and even other websites and free apps, they usually generate passwords that are super long and completely irrelevant to the user. And sure, their password strength and complexity may be great, but there's no point if the user can't remember the password or just decides to stay logged in. That completely goes against the point of even having one. So if users actually want a decent password, they usually have to end up paying for better quality apps or downloading free apps with the App Store, whereas we're providing the same services for free. Now, in terms of monetization, we do plan to implement a licensing plan allowing other apps to use our algorithm to generate passwords for their app while we collect a fee. So they don't necessarily have to go through our foundation of survey questions and such, but they can still access the formulas that we use to generate passwords. And so throughout the process of creating this wonderful app, though, we did face some challenges. First off, we did end up losing a member due to unforeseen circumstances, and this led to a sudden redistribution of tasks with very little time remaining. And additionally, because of the current COVID-19 situation, we were unable to follow through with our initial plan of cross-checking the user's survey answers with their Instagram data. And this was because in order to access the data, our app needed to be registered through Facebook developers. And that took about a month to get back to us. And so that just wasn't feasible in our timeline. So we ended up using online public records instead, and we were unable to actually link to social media. But in the future, we do plan to implement a more holistic social media scanning process by including other platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. And additionally, we hope to allow the user to sign into desired applications with the passwords that they've set from within the app itself. So for example, the user would be able to set a password from the app as the password to be used to log into another app. So they can just log into other apps through Secure itself. And then of course, we hope to make Secure more secure. And to do this, in order to do this, we plan to implement randomizing the survey questions so they provide a variety of data to generate passwords, implement stronger password generating formulas, and allow the user to set their desired complexity. Currently, the complexity of passwords is just set to be a basic feature of generating passwords greater than 6 characters long. So with all of that being said, and all of these factors coming together, that's what makes us special, and that's how we have you secured. Any questions?
So the passwords, right? I mean, do you store the passwords in plain text, or where do you store the passwords?
So the passwords are actually stored in the Firebase database. And I think Ty can give a little bit more information on that.
Oh, yeah. So to access the passwords, we use a stream builder so that if there's any changes to them, it will automatically update. And if you were to access it from a different platform, then you would be able to get all the same information.
No, but do you store the passwords encrypted or in the plain text?
Oh, right now it's in plain text. We wanted to have that as one of our MVP goals to be completed, but because we lost our other backend developer, we didn't have time to get to it.
Yeah, just a couple of comments. There was an article recently that pointed out that the only thing that, or the best way to get people to change their password is if they have a strong password, they get to keep it for 6 months. They can give a weak password, but they only get to keep it for a day. So anyway, interesting commentary. So the passwords are stored. But a lot of information to generate the passwords is out on the internet then. So it goes over what might be an insecure channel. So if somebody reverse engineered your algorithm, now they can generate your passwords.
So we did think about that. It does the cross-referencing on the application itself. It only pulls public record information under your name. So the only thing that would be sent out was your name and the public record website that we're trying to search on. All the information that's being processed being done on the device.
And I guess to kind of build off of Ty's point, we are generating passwords that are pretty personal to the user through the answers that they provide us in their survey questions. So after they take the survey, web scraping only finds data, like Ty said, from the user's name and any commonly attached words to that. So whenever the passwords are generated, anything that was attached to the name of the user is filtered out when making those passwords.
Okay, thank you so much, Secure. And last but not least, we have Team Focus Browser.
Hey, can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. My name is Vamika and I'm the front-end developer.
And I'm Stuart and I'm on backend.
And we're Focus. Studying or doing homework can be one of the hardest things to do without getting distracted. For me, whenever I sit down to get some work, I always end up on YouTube watching Dude Perfect or the Try Guys, or scrolling through Reddit to see the memes. Although the internet can be filled with thousands of hours of distracting content, it can also be filled with thousands of hours of helpful content. We created Focus to help take away some of those distractions and to keep you on track. Feeling like you've done a lot in a day can be one of the best feelings. Sadly, most of the times, if you don't feel productive, you can't be productive. The weather is one of the main motivators for productivity. Although we can't control the weather to encourage productiveness, we can help you control what happens on your screen to get the most out of your day. Focus is here to guide you to peak productivity and to help get the job done.
So, what are our main issues that prohibit our productivity when working online? One of the many issues is the many various social media platforms that many of us spend our time on daily. Furthermore, another one of those issues is all the time-consuming media that we consume, like YouTube and such. All that combined with our general disorganization that slows us down while we work. So to combat this, we've created Focus, a browser made to tailor your needs and help guide you in the right direction. Focus will help you stay focused on whatever you need by restricting access to distracting websites. This is our browser that we've made. At first glance, you may see that there isn't all that much on the screen. We've tried to remove a lot of the clutter that would normally fill the screen, such as your newsfeed and other recommendations that would normally pop up with other browsers. Our goal with the homepage was to create a clean, yet a simple homepage, free of distractions. Of course, it comes with all the standard features that a normal browser would. But up in the top right, there is a block button, which will add the current site to a list of blocked websites. This allows an easy way for the user to block websites that they deem distracting. And on the left of the screen, you could pull out a small bar. This is our main menu, which acts like the central hub for the user to interact with our settings and the blocked list. Here, you can manually access your blocked sites and also remove sites that you no longer want blocked. And last but not least, if the user does attempt to access a site that was included on the block list, the browser will not let the user access said site. Although this is not a hard block, the user could still get around it by manually removing the site from the blocked list. The main purpose of this feature is just to keep the user on track, to stop immediate access to distracting sites. For example, if you try to access a site like Twitter, assuming it was blocked, this screen would pop up and stop the user from entering Twitter. So on the next slide, we have a demo of this in action. So the user is going to type something in like Twitter. As of right now, it is not blocked, so the website will appear like normal. And we'll go over to the right and click the block button. Now automatically kick the user out of that site and add it to the block list.
After figuring out what features we wanted for our browser, we got to designing. We used Adobe XD to create a blueprint of our design and to figure out what features we wanted. We used Java Effects to code our project. The reason we chose Java Effects was because it has a WebKit perfect for web browser usage. It's easy to make a website and it's very malleable to incorporate with our UI. To block a website takes only a few lines of code as well. All we had to do was make a list of the block URLs, see if the user was trying to access it, and then redirect them to the block page. The first roadblock came when we were trying to figure out what features we should include. We all wanted a notes feature the user could use to leave reminders for themselves on the home screen, but we weren't sure if it was feasible enough to include in the MVP. We debated back and forth for a while, but we eventually decided to see what happens in the middle of the semester. When we got to that time, we decided to make it a stretch goal. The bigger roadblock came after we went online. One of our team members dropped, so we had to work around that and pick up her unfinished work. We recently found out that one of our members would be unavailable for the final presentation, so we had to work around that as well. We want Focus to be the most helpful tool when it comes to productivity. Some features we would like to add in the future to increase effectiveness are API implementation and a personal planner. Although YouTube can have thousands of hours of helpful content, it can also have thousands of hours of distracting content. Often, students start out watching an educational video, but once the video ends, something unrelated will pop up on autoplay and they'll get distracted. This is why we want to use the YouTube API to block that distracting content so the student can solely focus on advancing their knowledge. We also want children of all ages to be able to use our browser. So we want to implement an API that will help younger users safely browse through. Another aspect of success involves organization, and the best way to do that is through a personal planner. We hope to have a feature on our home screen that helps you stay on track with deadlines by having reminders through Google Calendar and an area where you can keep track of tasks that you have done or are planning to do. At the end of the day, Focus is a tool, which means it's useless without your cooperation. There are a million things that can distract us from getting our work done that isn't in our computer screen, but as long as you sit down and with your laptop to get something done, our product will help you get there. Any questions?
I did have a question. I do know that there's an app out there that does work very similarly to this. It's called Cold Turkey. I do like how this is a browser. And one thing that Cold Turkey does is aggregate statistics of which websites you visited the most, so you have a better idea of where you're spending the most time. Is it possible for your browser to do something like that as well?
I think something like that is possible, because right from the get-go, we wanted to get the basics out of the way. We had a lot of things in the MVP that we had to get done first. And I think that's something we would probably add if we got the chance to add to this, because we already store the sites that are blocked. So we can also probably keep track of what sites the user is visiting and how frequent they are visiting them.
One of the other things about something like this, for example, I wouldn't want to block YouTube completely. I might want to block YouTube for an hour while I'm supposed to be grading homework. So feature like that be considered?
Yes, I think we mentioned a little bit earlier that we eventually, in the long run, we want to add a YouTube API that would filter out certain videos. So it would kind of filter out educational from just fun videos and distracting. It's not directly the block for an hour, although that's something we can also add is a time limit on, I want it to be blocked from this time to this time or from now to the next hour or so.
Right. Okay. Yeah, interesting idea.
All right, that's all the time we have left for questions. Thank you, Focus.
All right, guys, so that's all the presentations we have for tonight. So judges, if you can double check your rubrics to make sure that all your team scores are filled out, that'd be awesome. And here in a second, I'll be sharing my screen. Let me just get around to that. Cool. Okay, sweet. So let me just enter it. Okay, so awesome. Thank you guys for presenting once again. So while we are tallying up the scores, we'll announce the awards to be handed out pretty soon. Each member of the team placing first will receive a $20 gift card for Amazon, and each member of the team placing second place will receive a $15 gift card for Amazon as well. The criteria will be based on collaboration, visual design, innovation, the demo, and the presentation effect overall. So now we're going to announce the first place winner. And the winner of the Spring 2020 ACM projects is Pocket Museum. So congratulations, guys. We'll get in contact with you pretty soon so we can start, passing out those awards. Okay, so our second place winner.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
We do have a tie for second place. So we need to communicate with the judges to reach our final verdict. Hold on for a second. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was unexpected. Oh man, this is gonna be intense. All right, we're just calculating our scores again real quick. Man, this is pretty suspenseful even to me. Not enjoying it. Oh boy. Okay. Let's see. So Kaylin Tibbetts is asking for me to tell a joke, except I'm not much of a joker myself. Does anyone have any good jokes? They can share on Slack, so I have a good one. I see some people typing, hopefully. All right, I'm gonna stop screen share real quick while we wait for the new score to be in. However, messages retracted on YouTube. I think that's a good thing. Okay, cool. It seems like we've got our new scores in, right, Jesse?
Yes, we do.
Okay, awesome. Let me refresh one more time just in case there's some, I don't know, user error on my end, and I'll screen share again.
Thank you guys again for your patience.
Yeah, this is, I'm not sure if this has ever happened before. It's certainly a new thing for me. Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm screen sharing without showing it. So that's why I'm messing around with it. Okay, cool. I think it should work now. Okay, so, okay. Can you guys see that? Okay, cool. So Pocket Museum was our first place, right? And our second award, right, will be going to Alakazam. So congratulations, guys. We will pretty soon get in contact with you guys as well. And we just want to make sure that everyone knows that they shouldn't be discouraged, right? If your team didn't get first place or second place, or if you guys didn't place at all, right? Just don't be discouraged. I think all of you did a wonderful job, wonderful presentations as well, and the services or apps that you came up with were pretty unique, I think. So we want to make sure that you feel proud of your work, because I personally was able to see through the Slack channels and when we did have physical build nights that you guys were putting a lot of sweat and tears into these projects. So thank you so much. And lastly, on behalf of ACM projects, we thank you all again for being here and coming out tonight. Special thanks to the judges and industry judges or industry mentors. We hope that you enjoy seeing what all the teams have accomplished this semester. With that being said, we will conclude the presentation night here. And we hope that every single one of you has a good presentation night. Thank you so much.